Well, hey, to all you cool cats and kittens, this is obviously your host, Mr. Hi. And don't worry, I am not trying to interrupt your show. This is just a teaser, a trailer, to talk about my show, The Anytime Show. Have you seen it yet? I hope so. If not, what are you waiting for? Go on and find my show, The Anytime Show with Mr. Hi. See you all soon. And subscribed. Hey, are you listening to me? You better have subscribed to my channel, youtube.com/Hollywood Insider TV. Yep.
This is Rebecca Brightfeller, and today's episode is titled Fact Check Series, 32 Facts About Steve Carell. This article was written by Carrie Fishbane. Steve Carell is America's goofy boss. He is the actor that made The Office a bona fide sitcom classic. For 8 glorious seasons, he made us laugh and cringe as the lovable manager of Dunder Mifflin Paper. He made his mark on the world by playing Michael Scott. However, he has a storied career that goes far beyond the walls of the Scranton business park. It's a given to every fan of The Office that he is an amazing comedy actor, but in recent years, he has proven to be a dramatic actor to rival even the greatest Oscar-winning actors. Fact 1. Humble beginnings in Concord, Massachusetts. Steve Carell was the youngest of 4 kids. His father was an electrical engineer, and his mother was a psychiatric nurse. So Steve definitely followed in mom and dad's footsteps. His ancestral surname was Caroselli, but it was later shortened to Carell. Fact 2. He showed musical promise growing up. Carell played the fife growing up. A fife is a small woodwind instrument that bears a resemblance to the piccolo. Carell didn't fall far from the family tree because the entire family played instruments. They played together as a family. Fact 3. He was a mailman in Massachusetts. Before Carell got his big break, he was a mail carrier in the small town of Littleton, Massachusetts. He didn't get a company truck to deliver mail in, so Steve was riding around town visiting mailboxes in his own Toyota.
I would sit in the passenger seat and deliver the mail out the right side.
That's gotta be illegal.
In the snow.
He would write special letters to kids who put letters to Santa in the mailbox, ensuring them that their letter was delivered by special reindeer carriers. And Carell officially wins the award for sweetest mail carrier south of the North Pole. Fact 4. The interest in comedy begins. Carell attended Denison University in Ohio. There, he joined the school's improv group called Burpee's Seedy Theatrical Company, which continues the tradition of college improv groups having the weirdest names. See Harvard's Hasty Pudding, or Yale's perhaps a bit pretentiously named Lux Improvitus. Fact 5. He began professionally acting in The Dana Carvey Show. In 1996, Carell began his acting career in The Dana Carvey Show. It was a short-lived sketch show, only staying on air for 1 year. Here, he met good friend and occasional career partner Stephen Colbert, who Carell went on to work on The Daily Show with.
You've just made me vomit in my own mouth. What's the weather like up your own ass?
Fact 6. He proved to have that special comedic touch so early in his career. Carell was a shining star on The Dana Carvey Show. His most famous sketch was performed with Stephen Colbert. He acted as a waiter nauseated by food, and Colbert played the patron of the restaurant Carell's character worked at.
Chicken.
Fact 7. The voice of Gary. It's no secret that Carell is an amazing voice actor. Carell voiced the character Gary from the SNL sketch The Ambiguously Gay Duo. The animated comedy sketch was originally part of The Dana Carvey Show before moving to Saturday Night Live. Fact 8. Poor comedic choices have their consequences. The Dana Carvey Show only lasted 8 episodes. The opening sketch of the show featured Dana Carvey as Bill Clinton, where he, how to put this, nursed puppies and a kitten the way only a mother could. with his man boobs. Fans immediately tuned out and viewership never recovered. Fact 9. Friends stick together. In 1999, Stephen Colbert was cast as a correspondent on The Daily Show. And what do you know? Carell was knighted as a Daily Show correspondent slightly after.
When they found out that I was in Waiters and Nauseated Food, they hired me on the spot. And 6 months later, like, we got to find somebody else.
Well, you got me hired on The Daily Show.
The two men were fortunate enough to work under one of the best late-night hosts ever, Jon Stewart. Fact 10. 1999 to 2002 were incredibly defining years for The Daily Show. Carell and Colbert joined The Daily Show at a historic time. The race between Al Gore and George Bush was everything but a smooth sail for the US. The Daily Show's famed coverage of the election was dubbed Indecision 2000. This was not the only earth-shattering event that happened during Carell's time on the show. September 11, 2001 was a day that shook America to its core. Perhaps the hardest job in the months after the attacks was working on a comedy news show and having to perform shortly after the world changed forever.
They packed this symbol of American ingenuity and strength.
Fact 11. Another friend joins the cast. Ed Helms became a correspondent on The Daily Show in 2003. That name might sound familiar to fans of The Office. Ed Helms was later cast as ex-Cornell a cappella singer and current Dunder Mifflin employee Andy Bernard. Side note about Andy, he was in an all-male a cappella group called Here Comes Treble, even though only women sing in music marked with the treble clef. Fact 12. Don't leave us, Jon. Jon Stewart almost left The Daily Show shortly after he began hosting it. In an interview with Stephen Colbert, Stewart said there were creative differences between him and the writing staff and the producers of the show. Fortunately, he stuck it out and gained more creative control over the show. Otherwise, the landscape of American late-night TV would look very different today. Fact 13. Thank you, Ricky Gervais. The show that made Carell a household name would not have been possible if it wasn't for the British version of the show. Created by UK comedy legend Ricky Gervais, the show gained a massive following despite only lasting for 2 seasons. Gervais later went on to make cameos in Season 7 of the US reboot as his character on the UK office, David Brent. Remember when Michael Scott runs into a fellow comedy enthusiast in the lobby of the Scranton Business Park? That was his British alter ego. Fact 14. Carell's wife played Carol, Michael's realtor on The Office. Michael's first awkward on-screen relationship was with Carell's wife. Nancy Carell played Carol for the 2nd and 3rd seasons on the show. They met when Carol sold Michael a condo and broke up when Michael photoshopped himself in place of Carol's husband on a family skiing trip. Michael definitely needed a couple of trial relationships before he met Holly. Fact 15. The Office wasn't popular at first. Today, we consider The Office a modern classic, but the entire cast and crew were worried they were on thin ice during the first season. Things took a turn when Carell starred in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. He was so dedicated to the movie, he got his chest waxed on screen.
Oh, you fucker!
Fact 16. Angela Kinsey and Jenna Fischer met on the set of The Office and they still are best friends. Pam and Angela are closer to enemies than besties on The Office. One can even go as far as to say that Angela is the Dwight to Pam's Jim. However, Kinsey and Fisher have been best friends ever since they filmed the episode Basketball. While filming that episode, they had to sit right next to each other on the sidelines of the Office versus Warehouse basketball game for hours on end while filming. That's how they found their best friend soulmate. Steve Carell once told them on set to cherish the friendship because if they take nothing else from the then-at-risk show, they would always have each other. Who knew Carell was Friendship Yoda? The two of them now host an amazing Office rewatch podcast called Office Ladies. The podcast is unmissable for any Office fans. Fact 17. Oscar Nuñez is The Rock. Oscar Nuñez, who played know-it-all accountant Oscar Martinez, was dubbed by the cast as The Rock. It seems impossible to avoid giggling while acting on a show as funny as The Office, but Nuñez became notorious for never breaking character and laughing. He stayed stoic even when he shared scenes with Carell, who Fischer noted on Office Ladies was an incredibly funny scene partner. Fact 18. Steve Carell was not the first choice to play Michael. It seems impossible to imagine any other actor playing Michael Scott. Steve Carell was the perfect choice for the role and seemingly irreplaceable on the cast. However, casting directors had Paul Giamatti in mind for the part. No offense to Giamatti, but thank God Steve Carell was chosen for the role instead. Fact 19. There were some other weird casting choices that might have been. In addition to Paul Giamatti almost becoming Michael, John Krasinski, who we now know as the mischief maker with the heart of gold, Jim Halpert, originally was called in to audition for the role of Dwight. Once he read the script, he realized he would be better suited as Jim, and he begged casting directors to let him try for his now iconic part. In addition, comedian Jim Gaffigan auditioned for Dwight, Harold and Kumar actor John Cho auditioned for Jim, and Seth Rogen was another Dwight contender. As funny as these actors are, The Office is perfectly casted as it is. Fact 20. Carell wrote the Season 2 finale of The Office. Casino Night is one of the most pivotal early episodes of The Office. It's the episode in which Jim directly confesses his love for Pam for the first time, and Jan is forced to confront the fact that Michael has other romantic entanglements. Many fans don't realize that Steve Carell penned this episode. He almost chickened out of it too, telling the show's producers he had cold feet just weeks before the script was due. Fact 21. Carell supported the writer's strike. Carell worked very closely with the writers of The Office. Some of them, such as BJ Novak and Mindy Kaling, were fellow actors on the show. Therefore, it's not surprising that Carell supported the writer's strike. He would not cross the picket line and called in sick on the first day of the strike, citing enlarged balls as his excuse. Keeping it classy, Steve. Fact 22. The most memeable moment from The Office. Explained. We all know the most common Office meme. Michael screams, "No!" multiple times while in a tight close-up. It's from the Season 5 episode, Frame Toby. Toby, who we have gathered is not one of Michael's favorite office mates, returns from a short stint in Costa Rica after breaking his neck on the first day of his trip ziplining. Michael at first doesn't realize Toby's back, but when he discovers the human wet blanket at his desk, let's just say Michael doesn't hide his feelings.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
Fact 23. Carell didn't study much before taking on the role of Michael. Carell only watched a bit of the UK version of The Office before stopping. He didn't want to copy Gervais's performance. As great as David Brent is, he's not Michael Scott, and fans are glad for it.
We have to spend that by the end of the day or it will be deducted from next year's budget.
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
Fact 24. Apparently, Phyllis isn't the best at calculating age difference. A cute running gag on The Office is when Michael implies that Phyllis is the matronly grandma of The Office, and Phyllis retorts that they're the same age, as they graduated in the same high school class. However, in reality, actress Phyllis Smith, who played Phyllis, is 11 years older than Carell. Fact 25. Michael's last words to Pam. Goodbye Michael was a heart-wrenching 2-part episode during which we all said goodbye to one of America's favorite sitcom characters. Probably one of the most tear-jerking moments in Part 2 was when Michael said his last goodbye to Pam before boarding his plane to Boulder, Colorado to be with Holly. A hotly debated question among Office fans is what Steve Carell really said to Pam in those final moments with her. The audience couldn't hear because Michael showed the camera he was taking his microphone off moments earlier, and Pam had just come back from an out-of-office errand, so she didn't have her microphone on either. While Jenna Fischer said she will never tell anyone verbatim what Carell said to her in those final moments, she told her Office Ladies listener that the director of the episode told Carell to just say what he was feeling saying goodbye to Jenna. If you're an Office fan and tears are not streaming down your face right now, you have a heart of stone. Fact 26. The crew got emotional when Carell left too. To honor Carell, the crew retired his number on the call sheet. No other cast member was ever listed as number 1. Sports team managers apparently do the same thing when a great athlete leaves a team, retiring their jersey number forever. None of them were as worthy of this honor as when Steve Carell left the role of Michael Scott.
That's how many minutes that you've worked here.
In costumes
And impressions.
Fact 27. The Office trekked on. The show was never the same without Michael, but the show continued on for almost 2 seasons. Writers attempted to replace Michael with probable sex addict Robert California, played by James Spader. But of course, no one could replace Steve Carell as Michael. Fans often comment that Robert was an awful character. In his defense, he was a well thought out and mysterious character. He just was a bad fit to replace a character who gave the show so much warmth and light comedy. Fact 28. The last appearance of Michael Scott. The finale of one of the world's greatest sitcoms wouldn't be complete without the best character in the show's 9-season run. Michael made one last appearance in the 2-part finale. In what is perhaps the sweetest cameo in the run of the series, Michael shows up to be best man at Dwight's wedding after Jim defects.
Michael, I can't believe you came. That's what she said.
We learn Michael has been living a happy life in Colorado and keeps 2 cell phones because there isn't enough memory to store all the photos he takes of his family on one. The audience is also incredibly happy that he has a family plan. Fact 29. Carell's last movie while still playing Michael was Crazy Stupid Love. In 2011, Carell took up the role of soon-to-be divorcee Cal in Crazy Stupid Love. The movie was incredibly popular and had an all-star cast, including Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. If those names sound familiar together, it's because they again would play a couple in 2016's La La Land. Fact 30. Steve Carell, the dramatic actor. Since retiring his call sheet number on The Office, Carell has taken on more dramatic roles. Since he left Dunder Mifflin, almost every movie he's been in has been dramatic. This is with the exception of his role in the Despicable Me franchise, and he gets some funny points for his role in the dramedy Battle of the Sexes. Fact 31. The producers of Despicable Me only wanted to cast great improvisational actors. Fortunately, Carell fit the bill. Daily Show correspondents have to be quick on their feet as they interview real people, and some of the best moments on The Office were improvised, such as when Michael kisses Oscar in Gay Witch Hunt. Fact 32. What the heck is Gru's accent in Despicable Me?
What is that accent? I'm trying to figure out where you're from.
I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
It's best described as a high-pitched Russian guy trying to imitate Ricky Ricardo. Carell describes the accent as meshing famous Latino romantic actor Ricardo Montalban and Hungarian actor Bela Lugosi. Thank you.